Hello, this is Real Audio, and this video is a little bit of it will bounce around. I will touch a lot of different subjects, and actually, this started out by me listening to Mendelssohn's Scotch Symphony, the third symphony from Mendelssohn, in Dorothy's interpretation, and recorded on a mono recording. So I've been listening to this music right before I started shooting the video, and I got to say that this relates to our break-in videos because the issue of equipment break-in, be the break-in about a deck or an interconnect cable, um, what is going through the processes are a little bit related to what happens during equipment warm up. So of course there are marked differences between the two, but there are certain similarities, and some of them would be if you are more of a novice to audio, you would not expect it. So here we go. Usually this is a general rule that the higher level your equipment is, the more natural rendering of the music it's capable of doing, the more extensive the break-in period is, and also the more profound the effects of equipment warm up are. And this is true for everything. So I just received questions about speaker cable break-in. Yes, you can hear the effects of speaker cable break-in, but it depends greatly on what kind of speaker cable you are using, in what equipment, what is the amplifier, what's the loudspeaker, what's the music source, because if your speaker cable was the weakest link in your system and you upgrade it, then there will be a noticeable upgrade and the break-in will be also quite noticeable. However, if it's not your speaker cable that's the weak link in your chain, and you have elements which are weaker by far, then if you are changing your speaker cable, then neither the effect of the change, neither the break-in will be noticeable. So, and that usually when we have a more of an introductory level equipment, where actually basically you have loudspeakers which are not capable of translating fine details. If we have that sort of situation that you have more of an entry level loudspeaker, then you won't notice much effects of equipment break-in, let alone warm up. And in the case when you have something really refined, I would say in my system, my turntable gear, that whole thing is my turntable setup. It weighs twice as much as I weigh, and that guy, the warm up effect is just absolutely tremendous. So what I usually do with it is that when I want to listen to music, that I put on something and it takes at least one side of an album to warm up. And it's not just to warm up the vacuum tubes so that they reach a stable operating temperature and all the elements are warmed up and nice, but also for the stylus, because if you look at the assembly, or maybe here we can see it better, the cantilever, and it needs to move, and it's sitting on basically on a plastic, on a rubber piece that provides dampening, and as it's moving and vibrating, that it changes the compliance of the suspension, and you need to reach a stability for all of those materials, all of those components before it can start transmitting stable signals. So I think that's the gist of what I wanted to say with this video, is that you can ask about any piece of equipment component in the chain, or even what Lou commented. Maybe let's find his comment, because Lou and Frank had really nice suggestions. So this is my YouTube studio page, so this is where it happens. And as you see, I already have a couple videos uploaded which will be available tomorrow and Monday. You can have a sneak preview on them. One will be, this will be tomorrow. Maybe it will appear only a few hours after I post this video. I try to post this one first. Can a push-pull amplifier experience be similar to a single-ended triode experience, or what's going on? So that's really, I would recommend it mostly to those people who already have good experience with single-ended triodes, that whether is it still a valid option for you to look at push-pull amplification. And this will be a very peculiar video, and I really recommend it to everyone. The Goldilocks zone of amplification. We will look at SPL, speaker volume, and the wattage of your amplifier that's required for that, and look at it that for music the most important thing is to have optimum to play at its best. And if you are always looking at extremes, then extremes will not tell you much. They will be really nice showstoppers, and extremes are always catching the eyes and the ears. But for you to have an experience that you can listen to your system for years and years, and it brings you pleasure, and you enjoy the music, and it brings you in the middle of your comfort zone, what is needed for that? So that will be coming up. And here, can I hear equipment break-in? Let's see the video itself, and the questions and comments. What do I have? So here, this is Frank's comment on it, and he has truly excellent advice on equipment break-in. So partly what his warning is about, that if your gear is not of good quality, then the equipment burn-in will not magically transform it from a bad sounding unit to a wonderful sounding unit. It will just transform it from a poor sounding to a less than poor sounding unit, but it will not transcend. And I don't see Lou's comment here. Maybe he commented on another video. But he was commenting about changing a capacitor in your system. And if even that's the only change you do, is that you change a single coupling capacitor, or maybe a single capacitor in your crossover. Because if you are letting through a wider frequency band than what you have let through before, then your entire system changes, because you are going to hear what you have not heard before. And maybe you are going to hear that your system is capable of reproducing that hidden range extremely well, and then it's going to be a very positive and profound change. But if your equipment is not good in that area, and the designer especially chose a lower capacitance in that position, in that, for example, in a coupling capacitor, to hide that the equipment is unable to reproduce those very low frequencies, or when you try to make it reproduce those very low frequencies, it unstabilizes the power supply, or it puts demands on your amplifier that it cannot fulfill. So in that case, even though if you put in a much higher grade coupling capacitor, let's say that you go from a Solen to, let's say, maybe a Miflex capacitor or an Audionaut silver capacitor, and you notice that now it sounds much worse than it sounded before, it's not because these capacitors are junk, but it's because they are allowing you to hear the junk part of your amplifier that was hidden before. So that's why changing parts in your decks or amplifiers or any audio gear, it's really not an easy solution. There's no generic solution, because it's going to be an upgrade if and only if the topology and the general execution of that equipment was already of a very high level. If it was a mediocre level and you are upgrading a path, then you are going to hear that mediocrity more and more. And that's why I am really stunned and shocked with this PS Audio deck, because even when it came out, it was not a very expensive deck. It was not a high-end deck. It was around $1,000 at that time. So it was like a decent deck, but very far from what's at the top of deck technology. And of course now there we are almost 2 decades ahead of the time when it came out, and yet when I tweak it and upgrade it, it steps up and up and up. And that's really the hallmark of a very good component. And that's what was happening with my Micro Mega Stage 5, and before I had the Micro Mega Stage 3 CD player, is that this is now a 25-year-old unit, actually 22. It was made in 98, but the line came out around 1995. And at that time they were not considered like true high-end, not like a Krell or something like that, but or a Vadia, but they were like decent players. And I've been also upgrading this with similar tweaks and changes that I did here with this deck, and it brought in such changes that actually I'm using the Micro Mega as a standalone CD player. So I never used this deck to complement the Micro Mega. So the Micro Mega I'm using is internal deck, and I just souped up both the transport part and the deck part. And I could say that it's still, I would say, very far from what today's top digital can get to you. So if you would look like, let's say, at the top Audionaut transport, it's probably light years better than this unit. But my channel, it's called Real World Audio, and to tell you the truth, I'm not really interested in what is the best possible available today. Of course it's really exciting and everything, but to me it is much more exciting to take something that's considered an okay piece of gear. You can buy it used for a few $100s, and change it and modify it and turn it to gold, turn it to something that of course it will not be as good as the best $100,000 CD player modified to the space and beyond, but it will give you an experience that for example, I just want to listen to music. So when I put this CD up on it to play, Claudio Arrau plays Schubert, then I don't find any difference whatsoever between someone playing, and not just someone, between him playing the piano right in my living room or listening to the recording. And I have just such wonderful deep moments, like such deep connection with music when I listen to Bach through this CD player, or Claudio Arrau, or even Jazz at the Pawn Shop, or Peter Hamill's, you can see there, Fall of the House of Usher. So that's what real world audio is, to take something that is accessible to everyone, like that CD player, or maybe you can find an amplifier used, or you find a Mirage loudspeaker that someone has on Craigslist for $100 or maybe less, and just take these babies and modify them and take them to such a level that no one thought they could achieve or they can do. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Have a most wonderful, amazing day. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, because YouTube is not helping me at all to get my videos to people who don't know my channel yet. Bye bye.